Hi, Jody. Thanks for doing this today. Yeah, this is good stuff. I'm so happy to have you here today, tonight, this evening.
Tonight, yeah.
Right, right.
Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much for having me. I'm excited.
of course. I mean, this is our leadership mindset series, and it's bringing tools and practices, real stuff that people can use. And we're talking about our busy brains, right? All the stuff that gets in our way, up in our heads. And I would love for you to introduce yourself and more about, what set your heart on fire. Well, let's start there.
Okay, awesome. So I'm Jody Hoffman, and I'm an educator, and my higher education has all been in adult education and how does the adult brain work and how do adults learn. And as I have progressed into um, entrepreneurship, I have
Mhm.
started to look at how does the way our brain works impact the way we're building businesses, but also how customers are learning from us
Mm.
and what really speaks to them. And so that's been where my focus has been for the last few months, is really learning how can we really hone in on that. So I know that what's setting my heart on fire right now is that I know I have always struggled, or not struggled so much, but sort of learned how to cope with uh,
Yeah.
ADHD. So I've known that I have ADHD since I was in middle school, but most people are like finding out now as adults, like, oh, this thing that I do and that thing that I do and that thing that I do, that's ADHD, right? And so we're now as adults, we don't have strategies, we don't know, exactly what to do. But what I really noticed and what set all of this off was that I started to notice more and more people posting like these funny ADHD memes. And
Okay.
then in the comments, everybody would be like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me. That's me.
Oh,
At the people who are commenting, time
okay.
after time, it was the most successful women I know. I said, there has
Um,
to be something to this, which started all of this research into the science of why people with ADHD and attentional difficulties are actually making the best entrepreneurs, right? So, in terms of like intelligence, hyperfixation, even things like dopamine deficiency, like we're literally
mm.
chasing the happy, right? And so it makes it really amazing when we learn to channel these superpowers. And so that has become my passion. That knowing that if we're interested, like we're
Yep.
going to find a faster, more creative, more efficient way to do it, and we're going to have more fun and be more successful getting it done. So all we have to do is learn how to channel it.
So of those things that you saw people posting, so in Facebook or where LinkedIn, whatever, on the things, what were the comments that you're like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah. So when we hear it, so it's amazing when you really dig deep into like what are all the different things that actually are part of it.
Yep.
So like in a second, we'll talk for a minute about rejection sensitivity disorder. That's like a whole thing that we're seeing a lot. But things like having a
Yeah.
having a super messy desk and not being able to function while it's looking like that. Like you don't. That's a piece of it, right?
Okay.
Noises bothering you and distracting you from what you're trying to do, or even things like when we look at you have a million things to do but you can't get started.
Okay.
You just can't get started. Like you're sitting there, you're staring at this to-do list. You know
Ah,
how to do all the things on the to-do list, but you're sitting there staring at it, or you're scrolling, right? And those things are all part of ADHD, that getting stuck in the moment and just feeling totally overwhelmed. Also, knowing that you're really good at something, but feeling stressed about
mm.
it anyway, or that fear of getting things done. All of that is pieces of this. And so I'm struggling, even like there's something I know every single person who's watching this has like something that they know they need to do, but they don't want to do it. Everybody has.
Putting it off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right, yep.
Putting it off, it's procrastination, okay? But
Okay.
we don't realize how that impacts the whole rest of our lives. right? That putting that one thing off, right? So
Yep.
at the risk of being like completely unprofessional, I'm going to compare it to something that everybody will be able to relate to.
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
Imagine that you've just come home from the grocery store. You need to take the stuff out of the car.
Yep.
You need to, change your kid's diaper. You need to let the dog out. You need to, right? There's 27 different things that need to do, but you really need to pee. Okay. And if you try to do all those other things while you're holding it, they all feel so much more stressful, right?
Yes.
Just take 5 seconds and go pee. Everything else is
Yeah.
so easy. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the feeling when we have this thing that we know we need to do, but we don't want to do it, or we can't figure out how to make time for it. That's the feeling. It makes everything else feel so much more stressful. And that is an ADHD thing that we can handle together. That's something we can deal with.
I love that example because everybody can relate to that example.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, I know. I've been that person. I know what's happening there. I love that.
Yeah.
So you went and did all this research
Mm-hmm.
and created what we're going to talk about here in a minute because of your own struggles, because of other people's struggles. Why did you create it, Jody?
Well, people with ADHD will understand.
Okay.
It does sort of kind of happen, right? So at first it was because I saw a connection between people who had ADHD symptoms and people who were being really successful. So I thought there must be like a thing there, right?
Right.
But so then once I established that connection, absolutely, it's a real thing. Okay. Absolutely.
Yep.
Once I established the connection, then I was like, okay, so what are the pieces that are in the way and how can we handle those pieces? And so then that was a matter of, talking to other people who were successful, but how are you managing this or how are you managing this so that we could help people who weren't given strategies. Okay. So some of us grew up learning strategies from school, from
Yep.
our parents, from things like
Yep.
that. Some of us grew up learning to use medication, right?
Sure.
And then we have less strategies sometimes, and sometimes there's a combo. But either way, there's this huge spectrum of adults who are struggling with ADHD, and there are really, really simple things that we can do that help us to be better and to channel this. Like really, when you learn how to use ADHD correctly, it is a massive superpower and will help you immensely in your business.
I love that. And so what we're going to go through is, can someone that doesn't have that, I'm assuming they could benefit from it as well.
Absolutely. It's good. These are things that will work for everyone, but also if you don't have ADHD, somebody in your organization does.
Sure.
Right?
That makes sense.
So these are strategies that everybody could use, but also you're going to want to be able to pass along.
I love that. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to bring this up. And so this building your business with a busy mind, or even, maybe you might not have a business, but or your career, same thing. Right.
Yes,
So, do you want to stay here or go to the next slide?
We can go. So this is just what we're going to talk about today is part of a bigger picture thing, but we're going to teach you this one tool right now because I feel like every person could go home and do it right now and you will feel better tomorrow for sure.
Yes. So, yes. And if anybody needs to understand the example or the feeling, ratchet back to, I have to go to the bathroom. I've got all that stuff to do when I walk in the house, right?
But I think that the reason I use that example is because I think a lot of times we have this thing that we need to do that's sort of hanging over our heads, and we don't realize how much it's bothering us until we relate it to something like that. And then you'll see. So I even have like my mom and my husband are trained that if I start to like act really overwhelmed or I'm like, I'm so stressed out, they say, what's the thing you don't want to do? Do that. And then I do it. And then I feel so much better. So
that's awesome, Jody, because that's like phone a friend, right? It's like, I can't get out of my own head. I can't get out of my own way. Right. And then you are helping your circle around you help you by they're saying, oh, I see the sign. What's that thing getting in your way?
And this tool that we're going to talk about, deadlining, this is going to help you be your own phone a friend. So even if you don't have someone who will recognize this behavior in you and point it out, you're going to be able to point it out to yourself. So that's what we're going to do together. Yeah. So so I want to invite everybody to do this alongside with us. So just grab a piece of paper. It's all you need to do. And we can go to the slides. So they or
Awesome.
listen a little bit. Don't stress. It's a lot of on the
Yeah.
paper, but okay. So this is a 4-step process, and I'm going to teach you exactly what to do. Okay. So step 1 is called the brain dump. So what you're going to do right now is you're going to think of every single thing that is on your mind right now that needs to get done. So it can be business related, it could be family, it could be anything. So when I did this brain dump, so these are like my actual notes, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do laundry. I keep forgetting that I'm supposed to make 3 Instagram posts today. Yikes, right? I've got to mail that product out. I need to write a thank you note. My kid needs a bake sale treat tomorrow. Why do they always need bake sale treats? I've got to plan some content. I've got to plan a team call. I need a books 2 parties always, right?
Right.
The kitchen. There's like all these different things that are on there, and then I need to write this ADHD training. Okay, so
Yeah,
I
right.
put everything on here. Now, if you can imagine that all the yellow lines are they're sort of not where they're belonging right now, but just go with it anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. You just put everything on the paper.
You just dump it out of your head and put it on the paper. Just
Yeah.
get it out of your head and on a piece of paper.
And don't overthink it. Like I have done this activity with my groups sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, does this belong on here? Does this belong?" It doesn't matter. Put it all on there. Like if it comes into your head right now, it goes on the paper. Okay. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to delegate.
I
Now,
love that word.
yes, exactly. So when we delegate, we don't actually have to give the tasks away, but what we're going to do is we're going to identify the things on this list that someone else could do.
Yes.
Things we could pay someone else to do. Even if you're not in the position yet to pay someone else to do it, let's identify the items on this list that you could hire out at some point and then make that a goal. Okay.
Clean up my kitchen. I want to give that to somebody else.
Absolutely. I pay somebody else to clean my kitchen for sure. Okay. So laundry. My husband can do laundry. My children can do laundry. Right?
Yes.
Bake sale treat. I'm going to let you in on a little secret right now. When you walk in with a treat that you bought at the store,
Nobody's gonna know.
no one knows. And if they do know, I promise they're not like, what a lazy bum. They're like,
Exactly.
I wish I had her cool life, right? So there you go, right? Some things like planning content, there's always like other people who are doing content. You can smash in with them. That's a great way to delegate as well. Making customer goodie bags. That's one I delegate to my children all the time. Child labor, you guys, it's a real thing. Use it. And grocery shopping. Send your husband to the grocery store or
Right.
Instacart.
Exactly.
Right? Just use Instacart. This is a great way to just put your time is worth so much money. So using a little bit of it to pay somebody else to do something for you, that's important. So we delegate those things out that we can have somebody else do for us. Then now what we're left with is the big thing where we're going to identify.
Yeah.
What we want to do is identify the thing that has the nearest deadline. Okay. So our
Back to going potty, right?
exactly. So our instinct is going to be to pick the most important thing, right? So when I looked at this list, I probably would have been like, oh, writing the ADHD training is really important. I better get that done. But when I did this, and imagine again that all my things are up a little bit. When I did this, it was the night before my team call. So what was the most important thing I needed to do? I needed to plan
the team call. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went ahead and I circled that, plan the team call. Okay. So now I know this is the most important thing that I need to focus on. And now I can move on to step 4, which is schedule. So if you want to scoop to the next page.
I sure can.
And I haven't looked to see. Okay, yes, perfect. It's all in the same place. So here you can see where the yellow lines are where they're supposed to be. So you can see I've highlighted the things that I can delegate. And then I went ahead and circled plan the team call because that's the most important piece, right? So then here's what you're going to do. You're going to look at the next 8 days. So I start with today and I go until a week from today. And I put in the thing that needs to happen right now. There it is. Plan the team call, right? I'm also going to send Bill to the grocery store and I'm going to tell him while he's there. Okay. And then I'm going to take the rest of the items that are left on my list and I'm just going to plug them into the calendar. Now, this sounds super simple, right? And you guys are like, whatever, Jody, I already have a planner. I know how to do this. But let me tell you what happens when you plan at this level. I put in, this is where I'm doing laundry. This is where I'm mailing the product. This is where I'm doing the thank you note. I put it all in there. Here's what I want you to do. Imagine that each of these items is like a ball in the air and you're juggling them. You're trying to keep them all above ground. Okay. And what you do when you do this activity is you're identifying, this is the ball I need to catch right now. Okay. So some people think like, this is the ball that's made of glass. The rest of them are plastic right now. Right.
Right.
This ball I must catch and handle. The rest of the balls, what you've done is you've taken them out of the air, you've put them in a nice safe place, and you'll pick them up again later because you don't need to worry about them right now. Right. When you do that, now you can focus on the one thing that needs to get done. You'll get it done, and then you'll stop feeling like you have to pee all the time. And that's
I love. Well, and what's interesting about that is like I use something similar. I'm in a program where, I mean, this is I have my timestamps, so it's my day. But it's spot on. It helps us get rid of all the stuff that's in our head, Absolutely. Put it in a safe place, and then focus on the thing that is the most urgent, that's right in front of us. And then we're not having these 30 things that are rolling around in our brains.
Right, exactly. And I think a lot of times when if you have a traditional job, you have a boss who's telling you like, this is the next thing, this is the next thing, this is the next thing. And when we're working for ourselves or we're entrepreneurs or we're building our own businesses, sometimes it's hard to be the boss. And this deadlining tool will allow you to say like, nope, this is the next thing. This is what we're doing. And so, so hopefully that's helpful.
It is super helpful.
The good
that is awesome. That is awesome. I'm looking at, so I don't know. Oh, let's see. So we've got, I love this. I do this every couple of weeks, Jody. Totally help with my work day and my own business.
So good. Yay! I'm so glad.
Yay. Yeah, that's good. Gold star. I wanted to ask you, are there other cool things that you're using? I mean, this is awesome for people that are maybe not used to this cadence or maybe not even used to doing the brain dump.
Right.
I wrote a poem about this. It's called Marbles. And it's those things roll around in our brain like marbles. And then I find myself at night, sometimes I'm lying awake at night and I'm not able to go to sleep because I haven't written them down. And it's just dump them, like your brain dump them. Then I have the opportunity to go to sleep because I put them in a safe place and I don't feel like I have to keep them up here.
Yes. And I think, and one of the things that happens when you add like legit ADHD to that is that on top of the things rolling around, we have this underlying anxiety that we're going to forget something. So one of the other things I did was to come up with lots of different strategies for how to remember stuff, right? So like, where are you going to put this piece of information so you don't have to stress about it anymore? And so that's a whole nother piece as well. So we're just looking at all the different things. Yes.
And so is there another cool thing you would like to talk about or show like talk about or share?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about one thing that's going to make everybody be like, okay, because this is the one thing. It's like a 2-second thing that you can do that's going to change your actual life. Okay, so here's this out, right? So I want to know, like seriously, this was a huge aha moment. We have live streams every day from people who are just able to do this one thing. Okay, so if you are thinking like your perfectionism a little bit, like maybe you're a perfectionist, right? Maybe you feel like you need a script for everything. Or are you someone who is like, oh, but what did you say? Or what will I say next? Or you want to know exactly what's going to happen, right? Or maybe you are like putting up posts and then deleting them because you're worried about them, right? If that sounds like you, here's right?
Yep.
Your brain thinks that you're going to fail. That's what it is, right? And override it. It's something called rejection sensitivity disorder, or RSD, and it's one of the things that often goes hand in hand with ADHD. Okay, so this is a little bit different. It's not just like sensitivity to rejection. I mean, we're all going to be sensitive if somebody tells us no straight up, right? But this is like being sensitive to rejection that has not and probably will not ever happen. Right? This is why we're scared of someone saying no to us, so we don't even ask them, right? Or we're nervous about how a post or a live will be perceived, so we don't even do it, right?
Right.
So that
we don't bother starting because we're afraid of being rejected.
Right. Even if it's never happened, right?
Right. Okay.
It's not going to happen. Okay. So you're going to be, when I tell you this, you're going to be both like, oh, and also like, really? Okay. So here's the deal. The way to handle rejection sensitivity disorder is to name it, own it, and then do it anyway. So it looks like this. You're getting ready to post. You're thinking, oh, no one is going to like this, or this isn't going to go on, or whatever, right? And you're going to look at that feeling. And I sometimes like turn and talk to the feeling, and I'm like, hey, that's rejection sensitivity disorder. And then I just do it anyway, right?
Yep.
Somehow, when you just say the name of the thing,
Yep.
and then you can be like, oh, that's nope, I don't need to worry about that because that's not real. And then you go ahead and you do it, right?
Yep.
So that is seriously the simplest thing that you can do, is to recognize it, just name it, own it, and then do it anyway is the big thing, right?
Well, and it creates an awareness around this, like, it's a thing. It's okay that it's a thing. I'm going to recognize the thing. I'm going to thank the thing and move it along its way.
Right. Yep. And like talk to the hand, RSD.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or name it Bob or whatever. Bob, I'm not, or, no offense.
Not today, Bob.
Bobs,
right?
Not today, Bob. Yes.
And today, I was going to make a post and I was thinking about like, oh, well, how is this going to be perceived? Whatever. And I ended up phrasing the post in a way that I could write on the post. It says, not today. Nope. Like that. Yes. And I'm talking to my RSD, but also it made sense where it was. So
I love that.
Sometimes you'll see, that. So that's just a really great, super easy strategy to use. Also, keep in mind, if you're working with someone on your team or in your organization or your business or a colleague and they are struggling, you'll be able to see this rejection sensitivity disorder in someone else. And so if you can help them and point it out, I mean, if they're open to it and you have that kind of relationship, you can really help somebody else to be able to overcome that as well.
I love that. And so, Jody, is there any relationship to like self-worth and imposter syndrome and not feeling good enough? And I mean, it seems like those could be connected to that.
For sure. The most successful people that I know will tell you privately, like, oh my gosh, I don't know why people are listening to me. I'm and you're like, what? Like, I would pay money to listen to you.
Yeah, for sure.
But absolutely, that's part of it. And that's some of the stuff that we uncovered in the research and everything so in this Building Your Business with a Busy Mind program, we go through, different ways to handle all of that as well. So
I love that. Somebody just said, yes, totally relate with the anxiety about getting items done.
Yes.
So you have anything else you want to tease out in that particular comment?
Well, I feel like let's tell you one more thing for getting things done. Do you want one more one? Okay. So this one I think is my favorite. Okay. It's just called habit bundling. All right. So here's the deal. You just take something that you don't like and then you smush it up with something that you do like. So think of like bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts. Okay. Right. There you go. Okay. Yep. So things like running, if you want to go on the treadmill, but you hate going on the treadmill, start watching a new series on Netflix, and only let yourself watch the series while you're on the treadmill. Now you are looking forward to going to the treadmill because you want to watch the show, right?
Yep.
Another thing you could do would be, so let's make it business related. Maybe you need to make a bunch of calls. Do the calls with a bowl of M&Ms when you're done. Right? It's like, there you go.
Call M&M. Call M&M. That's funny.
Okay, or texting. Like you send the text, you get an M&M. There you go. Okay. But this is my favorite thing. So I know, so many people struggle with follow-up, right?
Yeah.
Because follow-up combines all the things that we hate. It's super overwhelming. We have rejection sensitivity about it, where we have a million other things that need to happen. We have to stay focused. It's sort of mundane, like you're doing the same thing over and over, right? So I've instituted follow-up Fridays, and this is what it looks like. I work from home in my home office, but on Fridays, I don't get out of bed, okay? So the night before, I bring my computer and my list, everything upstairs, so it's up in my room.
Yep.
I have my Keurig by my bed, and I wake up.
You have your Keurig by your bed? That is fantastic, Jody.
Absolutely. And a little mini fridge with a little creamer right there too. So there's no leaving. Okay. So I wake up in the morning, I stay in my pajamas, I turn on my heated blanket. I have this nice little pillow I put behind me that props me up, grab my computer, make my coffee, stay in the bed, and I stay in my comfy, cozy bed for 2 hours and I do all of my follow up. Okay.
That's awesome.
I look forward to those
Yeah.
2 hours all week long. Every day when I wake up, I think, okay,
Wow.
2 more days until I get to do follow up Friday, 2 more days until I get to do follow up Friday, compared to how I used to feel about follow
Sure,
up.
like dreading it,
Oh my
totally dreading doing it.
And I would put it off and put it off like, oh, I'm never going to get to that. It was never going to happen. And so many things fell through the cracks beside of it. So you can do this with lots of different things. If that particular plan doesn't work for you, you can also do things like, if you hate to go live, schedule your live for a Tuesday night and then schedule a blowout and a manicure for Tuesday morning. And then you're going to be
Nice.
looking forward to Tuesday all week because now you get to be pampered and then you're going to look amazing on
You're
your
rewarded
Yeah,
by it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or, clean up your office while you're listening to a true crime podcast or something like that. Like, just take something you don't like to do, put it with something you do like to do, boom, habit bundling. So easy.
This reminds me of when my mom, well, our moms, like put the pill in the ham or whatever, right? It's kind of like that.
Yes, for sure, like that. Or 3 more bites of vegetables and you can have your
That's right.
dessert,
And then you
right?
can have dessert, you can have some ice cream. If you eat the rest of your vegetables, okay, fine. So, I mean, it creates a built-in reward system, is
For
what
sure.
I'm hearing.
Yes.
Nice. This is awesome. These are such awesome tools, Jody. Thank you for sharing this.
Of
So,
course.
let's talk about your program
Yeah,
and what what you're doing with other people and how they can reach you, and I'll
absolutely.
get this piece of information too based on what you shared with me.
Yes, awesome. So basically, what I did was I took all of this information and I tried to decide what was going to be the best way to present it. And what we came up with was 6 short videos with assignments in between that you could do at your own pace. Because I know your ADHD mind and you do not want it all in one piece and you do not want to have to show up to something over and over. So there are 6 sections and each one is just a quick video, 15, 20 minutes tops. And then an activity that you can do that's going to help you to gain control of this superpower. Okay.
Mhm.
So you start with why people with ADHD are the best entrepreneurs. You are going to love it. You are going to be like, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, right? You're going to love it. The next one is systems. So you're going to learn things like the deadlining tool there. And then you go into deadlining again, and I'm going to give you the downloads and everything so you can do that as often as you need to. Then we talk about balance. So we talk about work life. That's something that everyone always is talking about, that work life
Mhm.
balance. But we're going to add in here hyperfixation because when we talk about kids with ADHD, often hyperfixation is something negative. Like we're talking about like, oh, you can't get them to stop talking about whatever. Okay. But actually, as an adult in business, hyperfixation can be the most amazing thing because you're going to be able to finish things at a level that no one else will be able to. So we're just going to show you how to balance that and channel it so that you don't, forget that you have children and a husband. If
That's awesome.
Okay.
I mean, some days you might want to forget that, but
You might. It's possible. You could skip that day then. Okay, and then the next one is pitfalls and cautions. So just like things to watch out for if it's you or if it's people that you're working with. And then the last one is just some like major hacks that you're gonna love. So the M&M trick is in there and also habit bundling. So you're gonna love all of that. And again,
nice.
each topic is just a new video and you just go at your own pace to learn as you want to. So if you get really into something and you want to work more on it, you totally can come back to it whenever you want.
And I'm dropping this link now in the chat. So it's the
Perfect.
one that you shared with me, which is building your biz with a busy mind. So
And I
that's
think
going
your
places.
next slide is also a QR code. So if you want, you can just scan it. There.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And then I will put the code in here too. So folks have that as well, because you gave us a bunch of goodies already, but
So much more.
yeah, this is fantastic. I mean, and I I think what we said earlier, I mean, this would help. It's designed with ADHD in mind. However, there are plenty of other people
For sure.
that that struggle with just getting things done, and we're dopamine and social media and all the things and all the lists and all the activities. We're all overwhelmed.
And everybody has a little bit of ADHD, right? And so, and it's
Right.
certainly attentional difficulty. So whether it's stress or anxiety or just feeling overwhelmed that makes it hard to pay attention, whatever it is, these are strategies that are going to help.
This is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all this fabulous stuff, Jody.
Thank
This
you
is
for having me.
good. And so we shared the link, we shared the code. I will get you this video so you have it too.
Perfect. Thanks.
And we had some interaction in here tonight. So people are watching and getting all your fabulous wisdom as well.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jody. And you have a fantastic evening.
You too. You too. Thanks.